Hello, we are Big Yellow Fishes, a metaverse-based media and marketing company. Originally starting out in 2019 as a hobby between two friends, Big Yellow Fishes has become a full-time business.
Working with projects such as MeBitsDAO, Metamundo, Yauga, Somnium Space, and The Whip.
Today we have been asked by Mona to produce a workshop focused around montages, aiming to give you some tips and advice for your own short films, which you can submit to Mona's very own short film festival.
The aim of this workshop is to help you with the Mona Shorts competition. The level of expertise is beginner. The objective of this challenge is to visually narrate your character's journey in the metaverse through a sub 60-second short video. The video should harmoniously integrate your character's movements and monologue within the metaverse environment, using thoughtful cinematic choices to bring depth to their story and enhance their integration within the surroundings. In terms of challenge description, your job is to visualize your character's metaverse journey in a 60-second or less video that harmoniously integrates character movement, monologue, and the metaverse environment through careful cinematic choices. So, who can participate? Everyone aged 18 or over is welcome to participate, whether you're a seasoned metaverse explorer, a digital filmmaker, a budding 3D animator, or simply someone with a story to share. This is the platform to bring your metaverse journey to life visually. Your task is to create a short video showcasing your character's journey through the metaverse while reciting their monologue. Pay attention to their interaction with the environment, their movement, how the camera frames them, and how their monologue interacts with the surroundings. Some more information on the video. It has to be 60 seconds or less, as mentioned prior. It can use a portion of the montage that you create during this workshop. All videos should be 1080 by 1920 pixels, which corresponds to 1:1 or 9:16 aspect ratios. The file format that we'd like is MP4 or MOV, and you need to make sure that you adhere to the file sizing for importing to YouTube. Your goal is simple. Your job is to craft an engaging and visually stunning short video that combines character, monologue, and the Mona space environment. Your video should immerse viewers in the metaverse, experiencing the character's journey firsthand. In terms of submission and selection, submit your short video for review. Selection will be based on the quality of your cinematography, the fluidity of your character movement, the interplay between the monologue and environment, and the overall representation of the journey in the metaverse. When it comes to getting started, you should plan your scenes, consider how your character moves throughout the metaverse and how their monologue aligns with the key visual points. Which spaces in Mona are you considering filming in? Are you creating your own scenes and worlds? As you plan, consider cinematic elements like framing, lighting, pacing, and camera angles. How can you use these elements to highlight your character and their journey? Make sure that you synchronize monologues and movements. Choreograph your character's movements to align with their monologue. The dialogue and the scenery should interact, enhancing the overall narrative impact. Creating your video. Use a virtual reality platform or 3D animation software like Blender, Maya, or Cinema 4D to bring your plan to life. Game engines like Unity could be useful for creating metaverse environments and capturing the footage for your video. AI tools can significantly assist your creative process. Consider using AI-powered video editing softwares like Runway ML or Adobe Premiere Pro's auto reframe feature. Try text-to-speech tools like Amazon Polly, Google Text-to-Speech, or Mirth AI to digitize your character's voice. Look at AI-powered animation tools like DeepR.io, or Deep Dream Generator for unique visual effects. Make sure that you're refining your audio. Use audio editing tools like Audacity or Descript to refine the sound of your character's monologue and add sound effects. Capture your footage using software like OBS or Camtasia to capture your character's journey through the Monaverse. And last but not least, submit your short video. Once satisfied with your short video, make sure to submit it to one of the Mona team for review. Remember, the selection will be based on the quality of your cinematography, the fluidity of your character movement, and the interplay between your monologue and the metaverse environment.
So what is a montage?
A montage is a film or editing technique in which a sequence of short shots are combined to condense time, convey information, or evoke emotions.
It involves assembling a series of quick shots or images in a specific order, often accompanied by music or other audio elements, to create a coherent and impactful visual narrative.
Montages are commonly used in filmmaking to illustrate the passage of time, depict character development, or tell a story in a more concise and dynamic way.
In the iconic film Rocky, a masterful montage takes centre stage to showcase the main character, Rocky Balboa, on his journey from an underdog amateur boxer to a true contender.
This powerful montage sequence has become one of the most memorable and inspiring moments in cinematic history. The Rocky montage stands testament to the power of visual storytelling.
Through a sequence of shots meticulously crafted together, it captures the essence of Rocky's transformation, evoking emotions of hope, determination and triumph in the hearts of audiences worldwide.
This montage remains a timeless example of how filmmaking can inspire, motivate and resonate with viewers on a deeply emotional level. Montages can be an effective storytelling tool, as they allow for filmmakers to present information quickly and effectively, enhancing the overall pace and impact of the narrative.
They are not limited to movies and can also be found in television shows, commercials, music videos and other forms of visual media.
As a business, we use Adobe Creative Suite for our software. In particular, Adobe Premiere Pro is our editing software of choice.
Typically, the suite costs $54.99 for an individual license.
However, students are able to access the suite for $19.99.
Don't forget, there is also a 7-day free trial, so this could be a great solution for those of you wanting to enter the Mona Shorts competition.
Other software options include DaVinci Resolve and CapCut. Both of these options are free with premium add-ons. CapCut is the only software on the list that is available for both mobile and PC.
Choosing appropriate music for your montage is essential to enhance the overall impact and emotional resonance of your video.
Firstly, consider the montage's purpose and theme, whether it's a joyous celebration or a poignant reflection.
Next, pay attention to the pacing and style of the video. Fast-paced montages often benefit from upbeat and energetic tracks, while slower ones can use more melodic or emotional pieces.
It is essential that you avoid copyrighted content, as without proper licensing, your film can be taken offline and removed, which will result in you being disqualified from the Mona Shorts competition.
To avoid being caught out, we recommend using a subscription service such as Envato Elements. Costing $15.95, you have an unlimited access to a full library of high quality music, sound effects and more. But more on this later.
Free alternatives include Bensound, Incomtech and BBC Production Music. It's always worth checking licenses and permissions before using any music, especially tracks that claim to be royalty free. Always do your own research.
Ultimately, selecting music that complements the montage's narrative, evokes the intended emotions, and maintains a cohesive flow will result in a powerful and captivating visual experience.
How to screen record using OBS Studio.
OBS Studio, which stands for Open Broadcaster Software Studio, is a free and open source software application used for live streaming and recording video content.
It is widely popular among content creators, gamers and broadcasters
who want to stream their gameplay, tutorials, presentations or any other content to platforms like Twitch, YouTube, Facebook Live, and more.
But it's also fantastic for recording. Let's get set up. Download OBS from www.obs.com. So when you open OBS for the first time, you'll have a few different sections. You'll have scenes and sources, audio mixer, scene transitions, and start recording / start streaming. It's going to be really important that these are empty, so if they're not, make sure that you create a new scene. And then in your sources section, you're going to need to click the plus button and go onto display capture. Choose the monitor that you need. I've got two, so I'm just going to choose the primary monitor. And then you need to add any other kind of sources that you need, so you might want your audio input. So here I'm just going to check that that's going to my microphone, and as you can see, it's going to my mic. So once we've done that, we're going to go into our settings section and make sure that our settings are correct. So we're going to go over to output, we're going to click advanced, and we're just going to go over to recording. And it's really important that the recording format is set to MP4, because if you set it to MKV, it's not going to be readable on any of the software. You could also use MOV if you want, but MP4 is more reliable. Once you've done that, click apply and click OK. In terms of other settings, you might just want to have a look at where your files are going to. So again, that's in output, recording, and mine are currently going into the video drive of my C drive. Once you've done that, you're ready to go, and all you need to do is load up Mona and then click start recording.
Did you know you can use a software called Ready Player Me to create avatars usable within Mona? In this scenario, we have created a simple character based around a space warrior. Let's be original and call the captain Scott. Captain Scott. For this project, we'll be using the MSS Pandora space as a base for the montage, using this as a grounding point to cut through footage indicating the passage of time. Some helpful tips when working within a Mona space. Click both I and U to remove the UI and N to remove name tags. This will allow for a more cinematic view and won't break the illusion. Make sure that you have a variety of different shots, from wide shots, mid shots, and close-ups. This is where you may need to be creative and work within Mona's limitations. A great rule of thumb is to try and get as much footage as you can. The more the better. It's generally considered a good idea to film 15-second clips where you do not move or jolt the camera, giving you lots of footage to utilise when editing. Later, however, you will see that we don't always remember to follow this rule ourselves. Oops.
When loading up Premiere Pro for the first time, you need to click New Project, set where you want to put the folder. So for this, we're putting it in a Montage workshop folder. Select that folder and then pop it into wherever you're gonna access it from. From there, you can name it whatever you want at the top, and this will be the file name, and then your sequence name I'm just gonna call Montage. Then click create, and what that will do was load you into the main section of Premiere Pro. So there's a few different things here that you need to look at. First of all, in the bottom left hand side, there's an import media section. But before we do that, we need to grab some music. So what we're going to do is go over to Envato Elements and find some sci-fi based music. So I'm just going to search for Space Orchestra, and I'm going to have a listen to a few different kinds of tracks to try and get the right one for us.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Now, as you hear, there's a few different tracks here that are a bit too fast and don't really give the right vibe for what we're going for. Once I find the right one, we'll download it.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Straight away, I know this is the track I want to use, so let's go ahead and download it. Okay, so the first thing you're going to need to do when you open up Premiere Pro is import your footage. So what you're going to need to do is find your footage, whatever folder that it's in. We like to keep ours nice and clean, and just drag and drop it into the bottom left-hand corner. Now, any other software will be exactly the same. You'll have an import area that you can go to. Now, I'm just going to talk a little bit through Premiere Pro because for some of you it might be the first time you've used it. Now, there's different areas that you can go to from the top section called Workspaces. You have Essential, Vertical, Learning, Assembly, Editing, and so on. Now, I tend to use Editing, but it's down to preference. So, how do we see our footage? The first thing you need to do is double click onto the footage, and you can kind of scan through it like this. So you've got a little bit of a scroll wheel that you can use, but the other thing you can do as well is pull it onto your timeline, and you can do that from dragging it into the timeline section. And what that will do is create a sequence. Now, the first thing we want to do is check what our sequence size is. Now, for the Mona Shorts film competition, what you need to do is have it as a vertical. So that is sequence settings, and it would be 1920 by 1080. Now, at the moment, that's not correct for our screens because my monitor size is 3440 by 1440. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change mine to 1920 by 1080. And that is 16 by 9, and it's 1:1 aspect ratio. Now, if you were going to do it for mobile, you would do 1080 by 1920. So we're going to click OK, and we're going to make sure that the changes are done. Please make sure you do that before you start your sequence, because if you edit later on, it can be quite a lot of hassle to change it back. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm now going to delete this and remove it off my sequence, because now I've made sure that the sequence size is the correct size. So what we do the first time when we want to do some editing is we grab our music first. We always want to be editing to music, and for this sequence we're going to make sure that it is 1 minute exactly or thereabouts. Now, you can see here there's a natural end around here at exactly 1 minute 15. So I'm going to take that, I'm going to delete the end, and we're just going to listen to the end section. Okay, so I want to get this down to 1 minute, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to go to the audio tab. I'm going to turn it into music, and then I'm going to go into presets and change it to remix to 60 seconds. What this will do is use Premiere Pro's AI features to clip it down to exactly 1 minute or thereabout. So you can see it's about 1 minute and 2 seconds by the end of the sequence. And now we're ready to start our montage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to editing now, and I'm going to start looking through my footage. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to find any footage that looks really good, and I'm going to start by clicking I. So none of this I'm happy with. Once I get into the flow of filming, so let's have a look. During the editing process, the first thing we do is assemble edit. This is where we go through all of the footage that we have filmed and choose all of the best pieces of footage. We put the footage at the end of our timeline ready to assemble with the music. I will then do a rough edit of the project to the music, and then Tom will take over and recut the music to beat. This works really well for us as a company and makes sure that the overall quality is kept to the highest standard possible. At this point, what I'm trying to do is create a cohesive story, so I'm mixing and splicing between footage on the ship and footage in different Monaverse spaces. Currently I'm not looking at framing my shots, that's something I'll do later. Now I'm going to save the project and send it over to Tom to set up the sound.
Thanks, Matt. Firstly, let's listen through the track. Perfect. Now we need to determine what time signature the track is in. This track is in 4/4. You can find out this information online by uploading your track to certain websites. They may also give you a BPM. That is also helpful in this scenario. BPM stands for beats per minute, and it will help to know when to cut your clips. As you can see, each bar of this music is 4 clicks of the metronome. Once you have counted the 4 beats in your head, that is the time to make the cut in the video. This means the video will be cut to beat and will flow better and appear more professional. It is worth noting here that this is personal preference, and some video editors choose not to cut on beat. Sometimes we may choose to halve the clip or double the clip, dependent on what the visuals aid to. We may also follow key highlights within the video. For example, if there are loud drum beats or rhythms within the track that are very prominent, this is a great place for cuts in your video. One of Premiere's greatest tools for sound is the audio track mixer. Here you can add effects, change levels, and edit your audio accordingly. Be sure to spend some time mixing and mastering your levels. YouTube and other sources online can give you some great tips on how to do this effectively.
Now that the sound's all good, it's time for me to start editing. The first thing I do is add a crop to the scene to make it more cinematic. That's a 10% on the top and 10% on the bottom. I'll then play around and adjust a couple of the sounds just to get it to the right settings. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create some different effects. So some camera shakes are going to be added and a few different pieces of framing. So in terms of how I'm setting up each shot is I'm trying to get the head height correct. After that, I'm just looking through each shot and making sure that each one is in frame and maybe playing a little bit around with the motion. You can do that by clicking the stopwatch and using keyframes. This is not something that's needed, but it adds an extra cinematic element to your shots. Next, I pass the project back to Tom so that he can do the sound effects. Each sound effect gets its own layer so that Tom can play around with the effects tab again. You don't have to add sound effects, but it does add an extra layer of quality onto your productions, as well as creating a more dynamic environment and helps tell the story. So back to me for some colour correction. The first thing I'm going to do is play around with the highlights and the blacks of the images just to get a really nice shot. Once I've decided that I like this kind of setup, I'm going to go out of it and just scroll through the timeline and make sure each shot works with this colour correction. At first I wanted to play around with the greens of the image to make it more sci-fi looking, but in the end we decided to keep it quite neutral. Here I'm just tinkering around with the reds, the whites, the greens and the blues of the image just to get the desired look that I want. You don't have to do this, but it does add an extra depth for that cinematic production quality. So let's check out the results.
So, Picture this. I'm out here in the middle of freaking nowhere. Just me and the stars, zipping through the galaxy like a cosmic road trip. And guess what I keep stumbling upon? Space ruins. Yeah, you heard me right. Imagine ancient cities floating in space, all abandoned and looking like they've seen better days. These ruins, they're like the ghost towns of the universe. Then there's this legend, the Key of Death. Dramatic, right? Supposedly it's this artifact that can unlock the secrets between life and whatever comes next. It's like the universe's biggest mystery box. And of course, I'm curious as hell. I mean, who wouldn't be? Being the last human out here, it's like I've got this mission to make sense of it all. To find out if there's more to existence than what we knew back on Earth. To unravel the mysteries that have bugged us since forever. So here I am, cruising through the wreckage of once thriving civilizations. Captain Scott, signing out.
Hopefully you enjoyed that. Thank you for taking part in today's workshop. We really appreciate you taking the time. If you have any questions that you couldn't ask in the Q&A, just make sure to contact us at Big Yellow Fishes on Twitter or go to bigyellowfishes.com to find out more.